A very good evening to all of you. Welcome to Mr. Suresh Lulla's webinar on customer focus. I am Sachin Garg and I have been associated with Qimpro via multiple assignments and through my experiences using their services at my current and previous organization. For those of you who have not attended our past webinars, I would like to take a minute to introduce Mr. Lulla. Mr. Lulla pioneered the quality movement in India by setting up Qimpro Consultants in 1987. He was mentioned by Dr. J.N. Juran, the father of quality, and is often referred to as the quality guru of India. Mr. Lulla has over 50 years of experience as a management consultant, speaker, trainer, coach, author, and a storyteller. I have personally experienced Mr. Lulla as a consultant, speaker, and trainer, where he has used storytelling as a mode of demystifying concepts. His stories and what he calls quality fables are now available in 3 volumes through qimpro.com/store. Each of these 75 quality fables are based on his experiences with his clients since 1972. Before we begin, I would like to inform you that a recording of this webinar will be shared on Qimpro's website and on the LinkedIn page. So please do follow Qimpro's page. I hope that you enjoy the webinar and look forward to your poll responses and questions thereafter. With that, over to you, Mr. Lulla.
Thank you, Sachin, for your warm introduction. Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to the 5th Qimpro webinar. The subject today is customer focus, a very important category in any performance excellence model. So let's get started. Who defines quality? Customer. Who is the final inspector? Customer. Who pays your salary? Customer. But then why are we organized in silos? These silos are appropriate for financial management, financial planning, financial control, and financial improvement. Where is the customer? The customer is out there. The customer receives output of work that flows horizontally. We call this a process. And managing this process uses the trilogy of quality: quality planning, quality control, quality improvement. In quality planning, we set the standard. In quality control, we maintain the standard. And in quality improvement, we challenge the standard. What should we plan for? What's important to the customer? What should we control? Again, what's important to the customer? What should we improve? What's important to the customer? So let's see how a customer focus can benefit a large organization. Quality, by definition, is customer delight. You delight a customer when you have the right product or service features. as well as when your processes and your outputs are free from deficiencies. You wouldn't want to buy an automobile car and within a month find it is full of deficiencies. What would happen to your customer delight? Features satisfy customers. Deficiencies dissatisfy customers. You need to be proactive when you're talking of product, service, and features. Proactive with respect to the customer. If you are proactive and you can translate it into features, faster, better, cheaper, and different to competition, you can command the price. You can also get a dominant market share because of prior franchise. When you look at your processes and you're aiming to have them free from deficiencies, waste will come down, warranty costs will come down, as also the cycle time of your processes will come down. Put price and market share together, you get revenues. When you're focusing on product, service, features that delight a customer, you are looking at the top line of your profit and loss. When you're freeing your processes and products from deficiencies, you are lowering the costs. Higher quality costs more when you look at more features. Every feature has an associated cost. When you reduce your wasteful costs, higher quality costs less. Quality planning is required when you are trying to understand customers' needs, stated, unstated, and you're translating them into features and subsequently into capable processes. Quality improvement is required to free your processes and products from deficiencies. Put these two together and you have profit margins that improve, thereby making your organization more competitive. Now in financial management, if I were to ask you to give me a dipstick measure of the health of a company, all in 5 minutes, what would you be looking at? In all likelihood, you would be looking at return on investment. Similarly, if I were to ask you to measure the quality health of an organization in 5 minutes, which measure would you take? Cycle time. Cycle time is to quality management what ROI is to financial management. The twin advantage of focusing on cycle time of a process is that it also benefits your market share. If you can freeze this map in your mind, you will note that quality is a boardroom subject. So let me expand through a story, a quality fable. Please note, it is substantially based on facts, but I've taken the liberty of a little fiction. The quality fable that follows demonstrates the simple art and science for building a customer-focused organization. Art and science, left and right brain. Left for science, right for art. The fable I'm going to share with you is customer first, always. How often have you visited an organization where there are posters and pictures on the boards right at the reception? Customer first. Customer is always right. Have you actually experienced that? I'd like to share with you a story that historically is when the license Raj diminished and liberalization came into India in the early 90s. During the license Raj, you needed an Indian to run an organization. With liberalization, foreign companies could now hold 51% and thereby have a foreigner as the managing director. So here's an organization in the pharma industry. For decades, it had an Indian heading the organization. In 1993, 51% of the ownership went to the foreign organization. With that arrived a foreigner to India to run an Indian organization. This foreigner was from South America. He had worked in North Africa and Southeast Asia, but he had never set foot in India. He was given a mission from the head office, transform the Indian operations into a customer-focused one in 1,000 days, effectively 3 years. I met this person, let's call him Victor, in his second week, and was surprised to find him sitting relaxed in his room, staring at the Arabian Sea and the monsoon rain lashing the windows of his office. I asked him what was his objective here, and he said to transform the organization to a customer-focused one, and he had already achieved his goal. Mind you, we were in week 2. Obviously, I was curious. I asked him how. He explained to me that on day 2 of his office, he called his senior executives. They sat in a room. He gave them a foolscap paper and asked them to list their customers on the left. Lo and behold, everyone wrote dealers, distributors, reps, etc. He said, no, I want to know who receives the output of your work. According to me, that is a customer. So, now, will you please list Who are your internal customers? And what do you deliver to your customer? There was silence. He added, how do you measure your performance with your customer? More silence. When did you last meet your customer? Oh, there was noise in the room. Yes, we meet in the cafeteria, we come in the same carpool. He said, no, no, no. When did you proactively meet your customer? Silence. He said, never mind, let's make a plan. I want you to list your A category customers on the left. And I would like you to meet this customer proactively once a week for 10 minutes with a one-point agenda. How can I improve my offerings to you? I would like you to log it. And I, Victor, will come and audit the log. Is that clear? So next week, I would expect each of you to cascade this very process down to the managers you supervise. And you will audit their performance. And I will audit your performance as an auditor. Simple. Do you see an underlying plan? Do you see a do? Do you see a checking? Do you see acting on the difference? Plan, do, check, act. Isn't this the underlying principle of every category in any performance excellence model? There was a byproduct where the juniors observed how the new chief executive was spending his time. They saw him investing it in reviewing on customer focus. The gray point was more effective for communication. The entire organization aligned to becoming a customer-focused organization. The CEO had much faith in whispers. So what are the lessons we learn here? Leaders walk their talk. Strategic goals should be simple and clearly articulated. I want you to transform this organization to a customer-focused one in 1,000 days. Customer focus is no longer a choice, particularly if they're paying your salary. All our endeavors have to be to win over the trust of customers. That is customer focus. Measurement is required in order to control and improve. Get commitment of your people first. Behavior will follow thereafter, and hopefully attitude. We normally treat people with the ABC of HR. Change the attitude, behavior will change, and you'd get commitment. Please note, this one says it the reverse. CBA. Get the commitment first, behavior will change, and hopefully you will change attitude. A robust process can be simple but must follow plan, do, check, act. I'd like to add here, you can't think efficiency with people. You think effectiveness with people and efficiency with things and machines. I learned this from Stephen Covey. In summary, customer defines quality. The customer has the right to change their mind. Customer expectations are a moving target. So unless you are proactive in trying to understand the customer, you will never be sure of the quality you delivered. Customer receives the output of work that flows horizontally. Processes. Functions are vertical. Processes are horizontal. Functions have owners. Unfortunately, cross-functional processes seldom have owners. Chase the customer, not your competition. If you want to be a leader and get the top line improving, chase your customer. Understand your customer. And finally, customer focus starts at the very top. Walk your talk. People listen to what you say, they believe what you do. And Dr. Duran had taught us, customer needs keep changing. There's no such thing as a final list of customer needs. This chasing the customer is a very dynamic exercise. No one in the organization should be free from this responsibility.
Thank you, Mr. Lulla. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope this webinar was useful. We are now open for questions. Please click on Q&A icon and not the chat icon to type. Okay, some questions seems to have come in. So the question to the quality guru, how many leaders honestly understand who defines quality? Who pays your salary? What should be done to improve this understanding at a leadership level?
I can answer part of this question, but not completely. Think of Hindustan Lever. At Levers, you have a chairman every 5 years. And you have succession every 5 years. And the successors are groomed for the role. There's one practice that is followed by every chairman in Levers. They invest 2 days in a month walking the streets, hearing the voice of the customer. There's no alternative. They walk the streets, they get a pulse, and that's what happens. Now, you can check with the secretary of the chairman. The days are frozen, and they're as important as a board meeting day. Chairman after chairman after chairman. Now, this partially answers the question. The policies should be customer driven. The vision should be customer driven. The mission should be customer driven. There has to be a buy-in from the top management to the vision and the mission and the policy. And what's the policy? Customer first. Does that partially answer the question?
I hope so, Mr. Lulla. And I'll move on to the second question from the participant. How does one take care of digital customer in today's world when customers are using digital channels extensively for both sales and service? What is your advice to the companies to take care of customer satisfaction as well as customer dissatisfaction?
I wish I had an answer. But I have seen when you have digital customers, the logistics and delivery process is the key process, the core process. Take a look at the packaging. It is so robust that the integrity of the product being delivered is intact. If there is customer dissatisfaction on delivery, instantaneously you get a credit because it is far more difficult to deal with a complaint. And good news doesn't travel, but bad news flames up. I don't think we have mastered the art of digital customer as yet. There's a lot of statistics that are being mapped and done, but there is no alternative to meeting customers. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. I've just been rambling on that one. But I hope it's of some benefit to the person who's asked it.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Lulla. The next question from participant is, what is your specific advice for customer focus in healthcare sector?
Much depends on how you define who's the customer. In healthcare, the complexities are much more. At least in the Indian scenario. Apart from the patient, the entire family is also a customer. Right? And the processes have to be so reliable that it's probably the most complex form of quality management. I'll share a small example, probably that will help answer this. There was a well-reputed surgeon, a heart surgeon, who was revered as God. And here was a patient from one of the villages with a child 10 years old. The girl had a very complex situation, and they came to Mumbai, for the surgery with this particular doctor. The child was admitted into the operation theatre, and sitting outside were the parents and another family also whose child was in the adjacent OT. Reading religious books, praying, 1 hour gone, a little more, there's no news from the OT. And snap, there was a power outage. And when there was a power outage, the gensets that were supposed to be triggered off within 5 seconds took about 9. The child died. The doctor lost his reputation. Now, was it the doctor's fault? We are in, all processes are interdependent through a system. And it was the maintenance practices that had destroyed the reputation of a surgeon who was revered as God. Perhaps you can get some insights to your question through this example. It's not an easy question, it's a difficult question. I must compliment the person who's asked it. It is a tricky question, and one can only try and interpret the story.
Thank you, Mr. Lulla. I'll take one last question. You specifically mentioned that we can focus on product and service features by quality planning for achieving higher customer satisfaction, wherein we can focus on cycle time, warranty cost, and waste by quality improvement to reduce customer dissatisfaction. We'd like to hear from your experience what it takes for a quality professional to focus on quality planning. Why is that most of the quality professionals are merely focused on quality improvement and not on quality planning?
Okay. If you recall, with quality planning, I said higher quality costs more. And with quality improvement, I said higher quality costs less. Now, you have to live with your finance head in an organization. And you're not going to get a budget for quality planning. But if you are going to save money and share it with the finance head, you stand a good chance of doing improvements. So as a strategy, it helps to start with improvement and share half the gains with the finance guy and convert the balance half as a budget for quality planning. The opportunity to save what we call wasteful costs, the cost of poor quality, in a batch mode manufacturing organization is 1/3 the total cost. In a continuous process industry, it's about 20%. In a service industry, it's closer to 40%. 40% is locked in wasteful activities. In healthcare, you can't afford death of a patient. So you take a lot more preventive steps, but they cost. So the answer is start with improvement, make a habit of improvement, save the money as a byproduct, share it with your finance guy, but keep some for quality planning. The danger, I'm going to connect it to your earlier question on digital customer. Things that are changing, digital customer is one part, but robotics is also impacting processes. In traditional industries, manufacturing or services, life cycles of products are shrinking. As they're shrinking, you have to have more robust design. Build quality into the design. There's hardly any time for improvement. Your life cycle will be over by the time you plunge into improvement, because improvements come when a process has existed for at least 2 to 3 years. Next, if you're going to look at quality control, there's no room for inspection. It's going to be 100% inspection, no sampling. And that 100% inspection comes from robotics. So I visualize that by 2020, the subject of quality planning will be the dominant one. Build quality into design.
Thank you, Mr. Lulla. Thank you once again for sharing your insights and your experiences with us. I think that's all we have for today. I do wish to remind the participant that Qimpro is running a poll. Please do participate in that poll. And while we could take few questions on the webinar today, I'm certain that some of you may have questions which you may like to send across to Qimpro at connect@qimpro.com, and we are sure we'll respond back to you soon. Our next webinar is on leadership for quality and is scheduled for 23rd of January 2019 at 4 p.m. Please mark your diary. Thank you for attending this webinar, and from all of us, greetings for a very happy new year. See you next time.